Dear Dhamma friends, today is the 8th day in our retreat, and today also we are going to have question and answer. It is now mixed with the common interviews, whatever it may be, that we are going to start with the written questions. So I will invite Sunil to present the written questions. Meanwhile, if there are any other questions or statements, you all are welcome.
Dear Bhante, thank you so much for your answers and really appreciate your guidance. During Anapanasati meditation, after I enter to a place where I cannot differentiate my breath, I try my best to be an observer and not to take any actions. But I notice following. Number one, sometimes I feel like I am suddenly woken up from a dream, but I do not remember how the dream starts. But there were some people and places. Number two, again, I try to be an observer and just staying there, but something happens continuously. Number three, I only noticed I was in a dream when suddenly I woke up. Number four, I am unable to track how I start the dream. Kindly comment and how can I progress? Thank you.
As far as the letter is concerned, the attitude appears to be good, but anyway situation is not under fully control or full mastered. So if I am to add little theoretical background for that, according to the Chulasunyata Sutta and maybe some other suttas, the Buddha gave stages, some kind of a theoretical stages of when the mind is progressing or when mind is penetrating into that center. Outer crust, we have this sensuous pleasure and objects, materialistic or non-materialistic, mental or physical, that is called karma guna, that visual objects, hearing, sounds, smell, taste, touch. So this is what we are usually obsessed with in our day-to-day life. So renunciation means you knowing that that is not going to be the full meaning of a life. So therefore some people try to renunciate and go into a retreat or ordination. But even then, even though they manage physically to get a distance from this karma guna, that means physical and sense materialistic objects, the mind carries the burden. When you go to the meditation and sit, again your visual objects, sounds of the mental sounds, or thinking about the past and the future, what you associated and what you failed to do and what you achieved and all the kind of thing happening, that is called kama sanya, the perception about the same. And then only you come to know more than the real materialistic thing. The getting rid of perception is much more tricky and it is much more sticky. It is sticky. So therefore you have to have a special effort, not only getting a distance from the materiality or materialistic wealth or your relatives, but thinking about that, kama sanya. For that only you take the refuge of an object, materialistic object, something like the in-breath and out-breath, or rising and falling the abdomen, or in the walking left leg, right leg. So you try to fulfill your mind or try to occupy your mind with that materialistic object in order to get rid of this perception regarding the sensuality or sensual objects or sensual perception. So whenever you are successful, you understand the value of the object that you have taken. It is strong enough to replace sensuous perception. And now object becomes your main issue. You try to understand the in-breath versus out-breath, the beginning, the middle and the end of the in-breath, beginning, the middle and the end of the out-breath. Like you keep mind occupied and possessed with the object. Now what happens was, then onward the Buddha's trick is playing. More and more you associate the breath becomes subtle, slowly. and their discrimination and delimitation reduces, and when it is come to the equal breath and equal in-breath and equal out-breath, when it becomes energies, the rupa sanya going to work. The perception on the materiality, just like the perception of your sensuality, the materiality going to work. So when that happens, when and where mind becomes distant from the discrete understanding of the in-breath and out-breath, or when the in-breath and out-breath becomes subtle and unperceivable, almost all your past memories, library shots, everything going to start catharsis, going to come out, just like in a dream world. So when it is happening, it is quite unrelated. You wanted to have peace of mind, you want to have the concentration, you want to have continue the mindfulness, but what happens is this the frothing, the mental proliferation, or past memories, or unrelated thing going to start. When it is happening, it is just like the materialistic or karma or sensual perception. This perception is very subtle. You get lost in between the concept and reality. You don't know what you are in now, in the imagination or reality. So easily you attribute to the half dream or half sleep. So there you see everything is volatile. Whatever thing arising is strong enough to pull you into that, magnetize into that, and you feel like entertaining. All of a sudden you come to know, no, it is a dream. It was something mind made. And at that level, more and more your verifiability of the object is reducing. The concrete nature of the in-breath and out-breath reducing. Or in technical jargon it says the individual characteristics of the in-breath and out-breath reducing and merge into the common character, and then more and more the material perception is going to work. So you have to let it happen. It's kind of a healing process in the mind. It is kind of a catharsis. This is what we can say free association or counseling. Or that is what you are the patient, you are the doctor, and the counseling taking place. And when it is happening, sometimes it will appear like a joke. All of a sudden you feel it is realistic, and again it says no, it is just a dream. And again you try to take the refuge of the in-breath and out-breath, and again it reduces, again the drama starts. And when the meditation comes up to that level, I think it is specifically in the Anandasappaya Sutta, Buddha says, now you have to understand what is coming out, what is the frothing, what is mental proliferation is not me, it is not mine, it is not myself. But this is what happened under the carpet all the time. So therefore, let it happen, and whenever mind going to get committed with it, whenever mind going to assume it, whenever mind going to react to it, tell, no darling, this is not me, this is not mine, this is not myself. But don't suppress it. The coming out is a healing process. You have to let it go. And when and where it is happening, don't trade it, don't assume it, don't react to it, don't try to see the content of it. It is none of your business. This is what you carried from birth to death, death to birth. This is your possession. From life to life, if you are believing the rebirth, and it's coming, you don't know. They are working as according to their agenda. Rational mind never understands it. It is always under the carpet. So when it is floating, you can understand exactly the same thing happening in the dream. Exactly the same thing happens when you go for the trance, hypnotizing, and maybe when you are under the influence of alcohol or drugs. So this is a trip. It's a free of charge. Ecstasy. The Buddha gave a trip without any drug. You can go to deep layers, and more you go there. Who you are, who am I, is going to come out. So when I was in Nilambe practicing, there was a cartoon. It says, whenever you see real yourself, you will run away telling that you have seen a ghost. This is the ghost. This is what you try to avoid. This is you try to always escape and try to show off other people. No, I am a Samaritan, I am a good person, I am doing that and this, and you all do it. It is something you act, but this is your reality. And if it is not surfacing, it is inside the fermentation is happening. Each and every your decision, each and every your selection is conditioned by this. You don't know. But when it is happening only you can understand, in our memory we have whole humanity in our, under the subconscious. Theoretically, scientifically it says, our RNA, DNA, lineage never broken. It is coming from the bacteria onward. All the history, all the evolution is there in the RNA, DNA. And therefore, when and where no internal, external stimuli coming in, then internal stimuli popping out takes place. So in the meditation, you stop external thing coming and impinging. And that's why you close your eyes and go to silent place and no movements and all the kind of thing. And even the primary object disappears, then no transaction. Faculty is open, transaction not available. So what happens is, what is accumulated is going to project outside. And it appears like someone else, it appears like a past, it appears like future, it appears like some places, but exactly happening in here and now. So in the day-to-day affairs, when we keep our eyes open, the visual objects, sounds and come and suppress it. These things getting a higher priority. Whenever it is systematically cut off, this is going to come out. And each and every time it is coming, it is a catharsis or cleaning process, healing process happen. But you never believe this is what I am. This is what I am. And this is such a turmoil, such a fermented vat inside. Let it happen. And only thing is not to interrupt, but not to assume. You have to recite the mantra. This is not me, this is not mine, this is not myself. Again start from it. This is not me, this is not mine, this is not myself. But don't make a suppression to that process. Then again you are going to pent up all the bad energies. You have to let come. Whenever the chance comes, that will come out. More and more it go out. It's like vomiting. When the vomitish feeling happens, if you are not vomiting, you become sick. You have to get out. Because it comes in a particular time and get out, and this is where it is happening. So ultimately you have to redo your whole humanity up to the bacteria level. From the human level, reptile level, or mammal level, reptile level, fish level, and or in between the amphibian level, fish level, and it's going back to the bacteria level. But to happen, to take place, it took billions of time. But in the meditation, you redo it within a short time. So if you go prepared, you understand, I am a person. As a person, I represent the whole humanity. Whole history is within me. So some people put it this way, they say that whenever we done away with then and their stimulation, then and their engagement in seeing, smelling, touching and kind of thing, you get the connection to the universal cosmic library or Akash library. You can get the whole humanity because it is there. It is suppressed, it is dominated by the then and their experience, so therefore it is waiting till the then and their transaction to calm down. Then it starts. That is what happened in the sleep. That is what happened in the hypnotism. That is what happened in the drugs, or alcohol, or kind of thing. Then it is coming out. It is a teledrama free of charge and meant only for you. Look at it. Don't claim it, but don't suppress it. So that is the deepest level of the mindfulness to have choiceless awareness. Or some Westerners, they put it is evenly suspended attention and suspended decision. Don't decide. Just let it happen. Ultimately you find its situation is completely beyond your control, and easily you will understand this is not governed. This is not under your control. But you have patience, you have tolerance, you have enough preparedness. Let the catharsis take place as much as possible. Otherwise, as parasite is there, fermentation is going on. So therefore, imagine if you are not giving such a chance within a day or within a week, what kind of a fermentation is going on, because we are so much pouring in the sense stimuli, seeing, hearing, smelling, touching, and competitively. Seeing-wise, different colors, different shapes, and all the kind of thing. Sound-wise, that music, this music, classic music, folk music, all the kind of thing. Smell-wise, taste-wise, and the contact-wise. So therefore, there is no chance for the vat to open the lid and to think to breath out the fermentation. And when it is happening, you never expect such a thing to be embedded within yourself. You try to make up and do facelifting and cosmetics outside, but inside this is what happens. And this condition is concerned, this vat, this fermentation is concerned, we are all the same. Of course, according to our culture and way that we brought up, it's little difference. But when you go, the return journey is, if you consider a globe, coming from the surface and going to the center. When you go and more to the center, more and more lighter, less and less defilements, and more skillful in your system or patipada or your teaching of the Buddha, and mostly mind is working at the superficial level. Occasionally go deep and again come at superficial level, again go there, and each and every mistake become your foundation stone for the next day's trip. So therefore, no mistakes in the meditation. So this is a very interesting part, and happening in the subconscious, and very difficult to express exactly what is happening. But you have the full-fledged membership or status as an observer, and more you to observe, you find as far as you are engaged in seeing things and hearing things, you are suppressing this. So once in a way you have to get out of that, come to a place and let this stop them as a restrainment, as a moral commitment, and let this happen. But even then, everyone can't go up to that level. It is also an endowment, it's also a gift, but you have to consider it as a gift, be prepared and be ready with the mantra. Only apply at that level. Don't apply the mantra when you are seeing things. Don't go and say, this is not me, this is not mine, this is not myself. That's a misrepresenting Buddha. Whenever the sensuous perception happens, don't apply by mantra. Whenever you apply in the in-breath and out-breath, don't apply the mantra. When everything ceases to exist, and then the frothing happens, when the proliferation happens, when this vat open, then only you can say it is a cause and effect relationship beyond your control.
Is that equal to Anusaya or no?
It is Asaya, Anusaya, Upadi, whatever may be under the carpet level. That unless otherwise you have a systematic approach, they never get exposed, ever fermenting and making so much of poisonous gas and so much of unhealthy situation, and you don't like to have it, but can't help because the fermentation already started. Yes?
I have some similar situation, but instead of being the observer, sometimes I feel that I was the one who joined with the wind, in other words, with the breath. So is that essential pressure as well, and I should tell myself, this is not me, this is not mine?
that I will repeat. Whenever you observe something, if you're going to see a woman or man, you can't say, but she is not me, not mine, not myself. There is something mad. Some you close your eyes, and attraction to the female and hate to the male happen. That is also you can't say, not me, not mine, myself. And then the Buddha says, in order to get rid of that, look at this white, or look at your breath. And when you observe in the in-breath and out-breath, don't claim this is not me, this is not mine, because it is so strategically you are doing. Now imagine the breath ceases to exist. And everything coming from outside stopped. And now intent to out, from inside to out, going to happen. They are in between concept and reality. That is the only place, if necessary, to apply this sun. Of course, I am the possessor of it. I am the center of that. But this is not my will. This is not my intention. This is what happens. So therefore, let the catharsis take place as much as possible. Learn the art of unassuming, non-reaction. And if necessary to keep the stream of consciousness, you a safeguard. You claim, this is not me, this is not mine, this is not myself. So you have to understand where to apply that mantra. Not all the time. So now you may again ask the question, then I can understand. What is your question then?
Because during that time,
What time?
I start with the abdominal breathing.
Breathing, yes.
Yeah, abdominal breathing. Then at time I found that, I have a choice, slip in to the mode of being the breath myself. Another word, I cooperate with my intrinsic mechanism, I guess. So I feel like I could control the frequency, I could control my duration, but I did not control it all. But just that, and then it slipped out again. And because before getting in, I used the abdominal breathing. So there was another hindrance, I think it's a hindrance, telling me I need air, I need air. So during that time, I had to do some deep breathing. So I thought, okay, that might be one of the 5 hindrances, wondering whether I have enough air. So make me do deep breathing. So I get out of it. So now I have to get in again by doing abdominal breathing in order to get into that. But now I'm not sure when you say it could be sensual pressure. So I'm not sure whether the mode that I was in, sometimes I feel like, yeah, I'm the wind myself. So now it could be the sensual pressure at that time.
So let me, if I got correctly, you are talking about the conscious breathing and unconscious breathing, or forced breathing or normal breathing.
I guess it's a normal breathing.
No, I am asking, your question is, or sometimes you feel like doing something, there you do forced breathing. And sometimes otherwise breathing happens with the involuntary muscles. Is your question or unclarity or doubt is related to this forced breathing and non-forced breathing, or breathing with involuntary muscles and breathing with uninvoluntary muscles? Is your question related to that, or how can I can understand?
Within the involuntary movement, I think. Yeah, but I have a little bit of control, that I could control the frequency.
So you can control only the voluntary muscles.
Correct.
Yeah, so that is what that you will. That is the where your intention is going. And other time, involuntarily breathing is taking place.
There are 2 parts.
Yeah, they are voluntary and involuntary.
Correct.
So what is now question? What is are you going to say that voluntary involvement is wrong or correct? Is this the question?
No, it was the time that I feel like I'm the wind myself, not the observer.
You think, or it is happening to you? You are thinking consciously, or it is something happening to you?
I feel it, not think.
You are not thinking, but the thoughts are happening.
I feel it.
The necessity.
It's a feeling, it's not a thought.
Yes, that feeling, it's not intentional, it is intentional or unintentional. Yeah, so now later a long breath happened. You consider this is something intentional.
From there, then I slip out. I did not stay that long.
Not necessarily to slip out, but we can analyze it. We'll say our breath is calming down, and then there's a necessity, a vacuum develops. You feel like a long breath. So it is a completely natural thing. It is completely happening involuntarily, whether you involve or not. But thing is, after happening, you think my mindful broken, I got involved, it is becoming an involuntary action or intentional action. Is it a Nissarana or not? That means your observation not enough. Keep it in your mind, this is completely involuntary. Nothing to change your mindfulness, still the mindfulness must be double fold at that time, otherwise you can't explain it.
Oh, so it's okay for me to come out and do deep breathing
It
and
is
get
not
back?
coming out, it is just shifting here and there. When you are going from the left leg to right leg, mindfulness is not broken, no? Object is broken.
But then, when I was out,
Yeah.
I have the excitement, waiting to jump in again.
That is because your wrong decision, thinking that this going out is a breaking of inside mindfulness. It is not. It is not because that is not. You are not going prepared with that. Always you have underestimation, self-accusation. So even the natural thing happened, you think unwantedly I get involved. I introduce a forced breathing or long breathing. My mindfulness is broken and off the rail, and now you are asking the first aid people to come and put the rail back on the railway, the train into the rail. Still it is on the rail.
So actually, during the time when I feel the excitement waiting to get in, it is a sankhara, isn't it?
It becomes sankhara as far as you are going unprepared. When you go prepared, this is a complete natural process. When the fast breathing going to reduce into the small breathing, occasionally a deep in-breath happens. You look at the children when the young children sleeping, all of a sudden they take a long breath. That's the way acclimatization takes place. If you are climbing a mountain at the 8,000 feet, you have to acclimatize into the low, thin oxygen rate. So therefore, after 1,000 miles, 1,000 feet, you have to sleep 1 or 2 days, and then mind get reduced. Brain and the mind become accustomed. And next day again, you can go another 1,000 feet, and now oxygen is laid very thin. If you directly going to climb, you get fainted. It needs kind of a adjustment, acclimatization. So this is also this is a positive. But you put everything into negative, thinking this is something you do. That's a wrong calculation. For that, only one answer. Go prepare. So it must be back with the theory, and you must have a proper advice, and on the proper time you have to advise that, apply the advice, and just wait. The best example is when you are walking. The mindfulness you develop on the left leg is without any hassle, change into the right leg, and then right leg to the left leg. Object change, but the mindfulness never. So because we always expect or we always think mindfulness is in the Montessori level, it is never.
So actually it's going to be a shift between observer and also getting in and then, being in and then being observer again, in and out like that.
If you go prepared, you are just an observer. Everything happens. You don't claim this is I did, this is what that happened, that is your own calculation. Everything is happening.
Bhante, I used to live in a Hare Krishna ashram for many years. Are Hinduism and Buddhism two sides of the same coin?
As far as the Advaita or Eko, that kind of terms, try to bring both of them into the into the same pinnacle. But when you go on really analyzing the Advaita, that is non-duality, which came after the Shankaracharya, happened after the Buddha. And therefore, Shankaracharya wanted to see the Buddhism also as a branch of Hinduism, and it goes up to a certain level, but is only the realization, but the principle was there even before the enlightenment of the Buddha. That's the way Swami Vivekananda put into way, and ultimately even Sri Lankan Buddhists consider the karma and karma theory and the jhana all taken by Hindu practice and like kind of thing. So I was under the same impression. So one day when I go to New Jersey, I met one librarian, and he was helping me transportation and kind of thing. Then I read that kind of a thing. It's very amazing, the similarity. Then he told, you also have taken in the wrong path. You have to read it properly, and it is a matter of presentation. These are kind of a new refinement of the Brahmanism after the Buddhism, and they have changed the name into the Hinduism. So therefore there is a book, Brahmanism, Buddhism and Hinduism, published by Buddhist Publication Society, and I would like to your book. And he gave me, and they are the Indian learned person presenting it and say the Hinduism Brahmanism slowly refining their ideas after the teaching of the Buddha. And it's good anyway, and ultimately try to find out the Brahma Padartha, their final aim, is almost like Nibbana. But Brahma Padartha always personalized. Nibbana is unpersonalized. So therefore, one day, Venerable Avalpala Rahula, he told, in your religion, you have personified the truth as the omnipotent, omnipresent God. The Buddha depersonified the God into the truth. Now that was a very merging kind of a statement, and they were very happy. But recently Bhikkhu Bodhi very critically mentioned, don't get mixed up. You have to learn it with the historical ground. So therefore, whatever may be, both of them are making a citizen, normal being better. That we have to agree. Otherwise you are completely bogged down in the sensuous pleasure, and you never think about the spiritual life. But both of them are inviting you to don't get satisfied with this mere trivial sensuous pleasure, and think about some spirituality. So therefore Hinduism also good, but from the peak, the pinnacle is concerned, there are some similarities. I got amused by reading Nisargadatta Maharaj and Ramana Maharishi, and they are presenting in such a brilliant way the most difficult part we find difficult to understand in Buddhism. And later I tried to read Mahabharata. It's a very new interpretation. If you are to read the 9th chapter, talking about the Krishna Vijnana, it's the most difficult part in the Sunyata Parisangita Desana, Nibbana Parisangita Desana, very clearly mentioned. So only the thing is, who started first and who copied. But the copied version is much lucid, easy to understand, digest. I don't know whether it is leading to the same thing. So therefore, keep on practicing, keep the critical mind open, and try to see whether you are amusing yourself or you are going to the reality, or just you are in the truth or reality. Truth is the conventional, reality is under your very nose. So therefore, without truth we can't assimilate the reality. So we have to use the truth as the crutcher for a person who is having the ailment in the leg. So until he is recovered from the ailment. But don't get mixed up with the reality and the truth. So we have enough truth in the both the dispensations, but the reality is person specific, place specific, time specific. So therefore don't throw them away. achieve whatever may be help promoting our morality, concentration and wisdom. So I got so happy to read these 3 books. Now I am not a master on that side, but I was attracted to that. Nissarana Maharaj, Ramana Maharishi and this Mahabharata. So very good. So therefore, whatever may be, as much as it is helpful to uplift yourself and be a moral person, concentrated person and wisdom, but you have to wait till the next Buddha to come. Buddha to meditate, to ask that question and get a conclusive answer. I have very little comparative knowledge, but I never try to measure them in the conclusive way. Understand 2 methods. Only the problem is whether it is leading to the final destiny. Different issue, but I am sure both of them are making a better person, little by little.
Dear Bhante, when I am at home, I feel loneliness. I turn on the TV to escape. How can I overcome this habit?
Have a good clips on the meditation on the TV. Look at the TV. I can give you enough clips. I can give you a DVD kind of thing. Whenever you have the loneliness, switch on. And if you feel like reading books, a lot of books available. If you need teledrama, if you need pictures, anything available. But don't let others to run the TV. Not let others to decide the agenda, you decide. And if the mind is cheating you, you have to cheat the mind. Simple. Keep a lot of books available. Keep a lot of music available, drama available, all are religious. And they are sometimes leading. Specifically the the bored mind. And keep all the time, whenever necessary, open television, no problem. I mean, this gadget has no kilesas, no defilements. And the other one is each and every gadget has a on and off button. They can't interpret terms upon you. So when you open, make sure this is the program you are going to see. And lucky enough, we are in IT technology. So much of the video programs, books, and everything available on meditation and how it works in your brain capacity, memory capacity, very interesting. You don't hate television. They are sometimes helpful, but you must be ready with the necessary DVD. And write me an email, I will send you enough amount, because I am always searching about that. I have a good reservation, a list, so you can go there and see it. No problem.
YouTube also is good.
Yeah, where that. If you go to the YouTube, Buddha at the gas pump, or Conscious TV, all the genius people brought into the screen and discussed by another very veteran person, and asking you being a such so and so, what is your message, how did you come to this level, and what is the relationship with Buddhism? And their answers are so pragmatic. They are just citizen Jones coming from the street. From our Buddhist point of view, they are not monks. They have not taken 8 precepts. They are not going for the different jhanas and different vipassana jhanas. But the way they apply, so each and everything has, every dark cloud has a silver light. Look at it. Any media, no problem.
Bhante, this morning meditation, I felt frustrated that I am not understanding or following instructions, and negative thoughts from the past came up. I attended between following my breath, then and negative thoughts. Tears fell. I heard your voice say, it's okay, it is kindergarten, this is kindergarten. That error, patience, practice, go back to your breath. I felt relief as waves continued to come and go. This is my practice.
Only the edition I have to, it is not kindergarten. It's very advanced. But if the kindergarten is going to heal you, no problem. But this is the way you never must depend on your teacher. There's so much so you are a slave. You have to find ways and means to get up. Of course, at the beginning you borrow, it is like a finance system to buy a car. You have a car, still you have to pay little. But later you have the possession, you have to get the ownership and you can run. So for that, never the good experience leading you. They are always misleading you. Only the mistakes are leading. But you have to endure it. You have to go through it. And that is the only what we can say willpower. So therefore, all negative what you consider, if you live up to, then it's ever reinforcing, ever galvanizing. And more you later will be a risk lover. You may be expecting something mishap to happen, to see whether and ready. So this is what they call prabuddha, awakening. This is what you call preparedness. This is what you call your risk-loving nature or radical reflection. And ultimately, whenever you know how to make use it, you find it is nothing related with the meditation. Meditation won't give any kind of that radical reflection. Radical reflection is something out. So already have. But the meditation gives opportunities for you to use the radical reflection, use this risk-loving character on a religious ground, on a spiritual ground. And ultimately, whether it is called spiritual or religious, your radical reflection, when it happens, that is the most proximate noble friend. That's the most proximate spiritual friend, true man. It is within you. Till that you expect the Buddha, expect the Dhamma, accept the Sangha, and trust upon your morality. But ultimately you find that is a temporary thing for you to develop confidence. Confidence happens only through mistakes. So therefore this is the honest, short to the point friend in your meditation. Moment you learn the art, all liabilities will be credits. All the mistakes you do appear like something endowment, something like endowment or gift, and you will carry on. So Buddha is, that is what the Buddha is giving. He says, take my virtues on loan basis and invest it. Once you come up to level, you can pay back. It is also in finance system.
There are no more questions, Bhante, so I think we can take questions from the participants.
Yes, I was wondering if on the first question where you were talking about the past memories and half memories coming up, would those be related, would some of those be sankharas, or would they be related sankharas, or is it like development of sankhara by the present,
Sankhara, you can't put it to the past and future. Sankhara, whenever it is manifesting, it is only in the present. So memories is not sankhara. The bad reaction to memory is a sankhara. It is happening here and now. So therefore you have to refine the sankhara in a very living, vivid manner. Sankhara is, it is happening now, and that you get committed, you are answerable. Whatever the wrong thing happen, if you are not going to get committed, it won't become a sankhara. No, nothing comes with the pre-decided idea without giving a chance to the sankhara. So therefore you must understand not to get committed, not to get involved, not to get not to react, not to assume. That's the way you can do away with sankhara. Things are coming towards you, never possess any kind of pre-decided idea. Any aim, no any inflicting capacity by the stimuli, by your reaction, by your attitude, by your assumption, by your commitment only you make it a problem or a endowment. So therefore these things are cause and effect relationship. It's in the momentum. It is waiting to come out, but you never give any chance because you are always looking, hearing, seeing, touching. Keep your mind occupied and obsessed. So it is waiting to come out. Coming out is good because it is a kind of pus in a wound. It has to come out. So when it is coming out, it's very smelly. It's full of germs. But not wise to keep inside. If you are going to keep inside, it may be very dangerous. So therefore, better to come out. But for that, you must be in a theatre by that time, or you are in a clinic.
Are those are some of those pleasant like thoughts or memories that come up, and some are unpleasant?
Yeah, that is because according to your value judgment. So that the joke is like this. It goes. If you are born in Tibetan countries and it's full of cold and ice and kind of thing, your happiness is the warm, green area. And if you are born in Arabic countries in the desert, the warmness is a hell. And therefore you are waiting the snow to come, waiting for the coolness to happen. So when the Arabic people writing about the hell, they take away it's very warm, and if you do bad things, you are destined to go to the scorching areas. Be careful. When the Tibetan people writing about the heaven, if you could do good thing, you will go to the warm area. And so hell of the Arabic country is the heaven of the Tibetan countries. It depends. It depends. So therefore things happen not this time. You are the very person looking through your glass, and it so happened quickly. And you decide this is a good omen or bad omen. And you don't know how that coloration happens. It happens so quickly. Ultimately you think as if it came already colored, it came already labeled with like. That the Buddha says, don't put that action to yourself or to other one. It is due to your habits, due to your habitual formation, due to your momentum it happens. So best thing is to slow down, things like the time, and see whether it is, even though it happened in a swift manner, or even though it happened like the spark, it happened in a systematic way. So you have to, the transaction must be reduced, mindfulness must be increased, time must be thin sliced, and then you can understand how is your involvement, how is your commitment, how is your manifestation, and then you find it is, I am the omnipotent, omnipresent God. Whatever thing happens, you are the putting the coloration, you are the one to give the sign, you are the one to put the signal, and accordingly you suffer. Not necessarily if you know, I am the culprit. So Buddha is showing a mirror, darling, calm down, things like the time, and be prepared, and this is what's going to happen. If you are not strong in why, I'll give a hypothesis, put it to that and see it. The moment you prove it, you find it is universal. So therefore anything can happen, but whether you are to suffer or throw a party depends on your attitude towards that. And that is why wherever you go, there you are. But you see that you are. There are some books written on the mindfulness. Wherever you go, there you are. Whatever you, there that you are. I see this as a very good thing. At that time my mind is good. I see it's a very ugly. At that time my mind is ugly. So if you are full of metta, world is so green, it's so lively. But if your mind is with hatred, everything is torturing, scorching and full of flames. So it is a matter of, if you love yourself, keep the mind as loving kindness as possible, or compassion as possible. So you can entertain the world. Yes.
As thoughts, memories, events emerge in meditation without how do we allow them, the fermentation process, allow them to be released, not judging, not attaching, but not, I don't know how to say this, but not suppressing. So by not, I mean, I guess the answer I'm sort of thinking is by observing. But here's the thing, is sometimes they come with such emotional content that to really observe them, not repress them, it seems important to also experience emotion.
So therefore, to answer that kind of thing, two things came to my mind. One thing is, if it's a normal one, something bearable, not much emotional, then you look at it as if someone else. You take a step back and say, this is something happening. Don't assume me, mine and myself, you just observe. And sometimes it is coming like a tsunami, it's a big with the emotion. And at that time you have to understand, for that kind of a thing, my mindfulness is strong, not strong enough. So let that damage happen, can't help. Because you can't tackle it, you have not enough tools for that. So therefore something you have to surrender. Whether you achieved or not, whether you committed or not, you have to surrender because your mindfulness is not up to that. But there may be some other thing, intermediate or very low kind of waves, there you can see, either you can get engaged or not, fork your fingers or not. They say that when you are sitting on the bank of a river, and you are sitting on the dry land, and you can see the flow. The river is flowing with a lot of muck or flowers or whatever it may be. As far as you are not forking the fingers, the flow is not disturbed. You are not wet. The moment you put the finger, the turbulence starts, you get wet. So meditation in that sense is get a distance but fully vigilant, fully diligent and fully restrained not to fork fingers. That means situation, you have enough tools, you can look at it. Sometimes it's a glut, so you can't wait and see, you have to run.
So by not poking my finger in and making it something else, it seems that I would be able to actually see more fully the things that that I couldn't maybe understand when we rinse current initially.
But then it is just a principle, cause and effect relationship happen. It is not inflicting you, not related to you, it's a general aspect. You are not getting involved, you are not answerable, you are not inflicted, you are not obsessed. So you can write a novel. You are a good writer, you can say such a thing happened. You are not taking yourself in the first person, and you can write in the third person. But something comes, some very emotional thing, very karmically potential thing happen, you are naturally get involved and can't help. So there you have to understand these things. For such a thing, I can't tackle by myself. I have not enough tools. For the moment you surrender. So let the thing happen. Can't help that you are unbecoming, you may be very sorrowful, or you may be critical others or hating others. Things happen. But everything at the beginning you can't take it under control. You only do whatever may be manageable, whatever may be enough tools. But slowly you find as the immunity increases, your manageable capacity increases. You have a lot of tools, that ways and means going to come into your tool bag. And slowly you become adventurous to get more and more difficult kind of involved emotions, and still see the beginning, the middle and the end without much involvement. So that indicates your progress. Okay, now we have taken 1 hour, so hoping there are no more questions. We are going to sum up the session from here, and at 4 o'clock we will be meeting here again for the day's Dhammajiva. Thank you very much for the participation.
So